Hey everyone, welcome back to Bear It In Mind. Here's something that trips up a lot of A-Level psychology students. There's a difference between the type of experiment a researcher runs and the design of that experiment. Confuse the two in the exam and marks disappear fast. In this video, we're clearing that up completely. We're covering the 3 experimental designs you need to know, including how each one works and how to evaluate them using the key concepts that examiners are looking for. This video is part of a full research methods masterclass, a course covering everything you need from experiments all the way through to stats tests. If you're interested, there's a link in the description. But for now, let's explore experimental designs. Students often get mixed up between types of experiment and experimental designs. So think of it this way. Types of experiment are where or how the experiment takes place, whereas experimental designs are how participants are organised into conditions. It's about how you use your participants. There are 3 main ones you need to know: an independent groups design, a repeated measures design, and a matched pairs design. Each one has strengths and limitations, and understanding them will help you explain and evaluate research more effectively. Let's break them down one by one. First up, an independent groups design. This is where participants are split into 2 separate groups, with one group doing one condition and only one condition, and the other group of participants doing the other condition. For example, in our sleep and memory study, one group of participants will be split into 2 groups. Group A sleeps for 8 hours and Group B sleeps for 4 hours. Both groups then take the same memory test the next morning. Number 2, repeated measures design. This is where the same participants do both conditions. Then you compare the results of both conditions. In other words, one group does both conditions. For example, one night the participant gets 8 hours of sleep, and then on another night the same participant only gets 4 hours of sleep. After each night, they take the same memory test. Now let's evaluate them. And to do that, we need to introduce some really important concepts. First up, demand characteristics. This happens when participants figure out the aim of the study and then change how they behave. Sometimes they try to help the researcher by giving the right answers. We call that the please you effect. Other times they might deliberately go against what they think the researcher wants. That's the screw you effect. Either way, their behaviour isn't natural anymore, and that can distort the results. So have a think which of the 2 experimental designs we've covered is better at avoiding this problem. The answer is an independent groups design, and this is because participants only ever see one condition of the study. Because of that, they're much less likely to work out what's going on, which makes their behaviour more natural. That's a strength. However, in a repeated measures design, the same people do both conditions. Once they've done the first one, they might start to guess the aim by the second. That makes demand characteristics more likely, and that's a limitation. Next, participant variables. These are the natural differences between people that can affect the results. Things like memory ability, motivation, stress levels, or even just how much coffee they've had that day. So now have a think, which of the 2 experimental designs do you think this is a problem for? And the answer is an independent groups design. This is because you've got different participants in each condition. So if one group just happens to have better memory than the other, your results might look like an effect of sleep, but really it's just a difference in the people, and that's a limitation. However, in a repeated measures design, this isn't a problem because each participant does both conditions. They act as their own comparison, so individual differences are controlled, and that's a strength. Third, order effects. The order of the tasks can change their performance. For example, by the time someone does the second condition, they might be tired or bored, so they might perform worse. Or they might improve because they've had practice with the task, so they perform better. Either way, the order is affecting the results, not the independent variable. So have a think, which of the 2 experimental designs we've looked at is this a problem for? The answer? Well, this is only a problem in repeated measures because participants do every condition. It doesn't happen in independent groups because participants only do one condition. Fourth, the number of participants needed. This is more practical, but still important. In independent groups, you need more participants overall because each condition uses a completely different group of people. This can make the study harder, more time-consuming, and more expensive to run. That's a limitation. However, in repeated measures, you only need one group doing all the conditions. That means fewer participants overall. That's a strength. The third and final type of experimental design is a matched pairs design. A matched pairs design uses different participants in each condition, just like an independent groups design, but the researcher tries to match participants in one group with similar participants in the other group on a key characteristic. If we wanted to match them on IQ, participants would first complete an IQ test. Each participant is then paired with another participant who has a similar baseline IQ score. For example, if one person has an IQ of 114, they might be paired with another person with an IQ of 115. You repeat this for all the other participants. Then, one participant from each pair is randomly allocated to each of the conditions. The researcher doesn't decide which of the pair goes into each condition because that would be bias. It needs to be randomly done. Let's now evaluate a matched pairs design, and you'll see how it deals with some of the limitations of both an independent groups design and a repeated measures design. So here's its strengths. Firstly, it reduces participant variables. We saw that in an independent groups design, participant variables is a problem, but in a matched pairs design, they try to match participants on an individual difference to stop it being a problem. Another strength of matched pairs is that there's no order effects. This is because each participant only does one condition. However, there are limitations with the matched pairs design. Firstly, there are more participants needed. In the sleep and memory study, you need twice as many participants to form pairs for both the 4 and 8 hour sleep conditions, making the study more time consuming and harder to organise. And perhaps the biggest limitation is that it's difficult to match exactly. It's impossible to control every participant variable. In a sleep and memory study, even after pairing on IQ, participants may still differ in stress, caffeine intake, or motivation, which could slightly affect memory test scores. So there you have it, independent groups, repeated measures, and matched pairs. 3 designs, each with their own trade-offs, and now you know exactly how to evaluate them. For more videos like this one, with exam question walkthroughs and interactive testing, check out the full Research Methods Masterclass via the link in the description. Or if you want to learn about another part of Research Methods, click the video on the screen now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.